So feel her loving energy and live the gift of life fully, Miss Debbie, here now.
Thank you.
Who knew your mama would step forward? Who knew? Apparently she did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, gosh. Thank you.
You're welcome, darling.
Oh.
So just a little thimbleful. Remind me, too, of your front door of that beautiful place you're in.
It actually, I don't know, it faces the north or it sits to the south, however you call that. Yeah.
Okay, the south is going to need, I remember those windows across the back. South is going to need a little metal this year.
Okay, south needs metal. Does it need to be moving metal?
Yeah, that's the best, yeah.
Okay.
You could put a clock. You could use some of your lovely wind chimes, but the metal should be in the house.
Okay.
Not on the tree outside.
Okay. And should that be in the south or in the southeast?
South.
Okay.
Okay. And your north, the north door is bringing in, actually, career opportunities. You will just have to trust that they are moving towards you, and you will also have to trust that the one who has crossed over is going to make sure they're moving towards you.
Thank you, Elaine.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need to do anything there in the north?
No, actually. The north is a challenging area to treat at best. And this year, because there's really a very favorable star on it, my suggestion is leave it alone.
Okay.
The money star is in the north. If you wanted to, I'm always one, okay, maybe that's the year to put the little piggy bank in the north.
Okay.
I like that. But other than that, it's just like the slightest little fluff up. Make sure your front door is clean. If you haven't cleaned it in a year because it's been winter up there, clean it down.
Okay.
In these last few days before the first shift of Qi, it is important for all of us to do a little more cleaning, although this past weekend was what the Chinese call the big cleanup days. So I suppose we were to move mountains. I can. How's your basement? I think of your basement and think, how's the basement?
That it probably should get down there and do some cleaning.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because it's what you're standing on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okie dokie.
But most particularly clear that north. That's true with Miss Debbie that I'm speaking to, and it's true for all of you. If you have a front door that's north, you really want to be ushering in the good energy with it, and the best way to do that is it's clean.
Yeah.
And the ratty doormat that perhaps has been out there for 10 years, that can go. Look alive, pay attention, see it with a clear eye.
It's funny, just before, I have had no front door lights for the last, year and a half. And just before leaving for Hilton Head to do the last performance down there, I said, you know what, it's a beautiful day, I'm going to put some light bulbs in here. And the truth be known, Elaine, the reason I didn't do it before was I was just too heavy to get on the ladder, and too afraid I would fall.
Yep.
And finally, here was a nice day, I felt good, I got right up on the ladder, changed the bulbs, and so now I have front light bulbs.
Speaking of bulbs, thank you for bringing it up. Those of you who do not have a light bulb working anywhere, inside, outside, you're actually restricting the energy flow in a certain location of your space.
Wow.
And that location resonates, it correlates to a part of your body. Well, the question, that anybody with half a brain should be asking is, what did the north correlate to? It correlated to your kidneys.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
kidneys then correlate to fear. So what would have happened was the catch-22. Fear that I won't get the gig, fear that this will happen, whatever the fear is, it comes in.
Oh, that's exactly what happened the whole year. So that's very interesting.
Well, it won't be happening anymore. Done. You fixed it.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
And Debbie, when it gets a little warmer up there, you may want to actually get out the Mr. Clean and even clean the little fixtures. So it can it can sparkle brightly.
Okay.
Okay, so you've made like better than half the correction, but
Great.
Keep your antenna up to do the complete thing when you're ready.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Thank you, Elaine.
You're welcome, my darling.
I love the show.
Thank
Love
you,
it.
Debbie. Thank you. And I'm going to say to you, share it with all your friends on the social media.
I sure will.
Thank you.
Sure will.
Thank you, Deb. We'll
Love
talk
you.
soon.
Okay.
I'll do the
Bye-bye.
cards on your question.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So you see, with each one of your calls, if you're listening, it in a way, yes, it was Debbie's house, but there were some very interesting tips given for each one of you. First is, if you've got a basement, that is what you're standing on. That's your understanding. And for those of you who have a very short sense of understanding and you just don't understand anything, maybe you better take a good look at your basement. Because every pocket of your home that is congested, whether it's the laundry room that you haven't really tackled since you moved in 5 years ago and you don't know even what's at the bottom of any pile, well, let's suppose that's in the Northeast and your children are trying to get a good education. Not so fast. That little pocket could be blocking the energy. I know it sounds absolutely bizarre, but energy must flow. It must flow in your body, in your car, all of these things, in your house. These are extensions of you, your chi. So, and Debbie then talked about the light bulbs. I can't tell you how many times I will see light bulbs. Not only burnt out is the easiest fix. You should only hope it's just a burnt out light bulb. You can get up there and fix it. What gets a little more tricky, and probably why you would ignore it even more, is the light fixture's damaged, or it's gone, it's missing, or it never was. It's a funny thing, that expression. We need light. You are the light of the world, and you need more of it. So sometimes these things almost back themselves into each other. All right, so I have to tell you, I did find the dear man who helped me at, yes, it was Top Line Appliance, and his name was Harold. So when you need an appliance, and I did have a little sticky thing, not with Harold. Harold was wonderful and helpful, not only helpful, knowledgeable. And when I go to buy something, my expertise is not in the ringer or how long will this last. I don't know that stuff, and I don't want to know that stuff particularly. I've got other things that interest me that are more precious that I can share. But Harold's expertise was my simple new washing machine and why this would be better than that. And I so appreciate that. So go see Harold, Top Line Appliance on 192 in Melbourne. If you live anywhere within a 50-mile radius, he's worth it. I have no idea what the delivery charges would be on a 50-mile radius, but nonetheless, tell Harold, Elaine sent you. And Harold has no idea that I'm giving him this lovely little plug. And that's the way it is with me. If I want to speak about it, good, bad, or indifferent, I will. So, hats off to Harold. Thanks, Harold. Harold also had the most delightful moving men. And I will tell you the moving men story probably in just a moment, but I think there's a caller on the line almost. So maybe not. All right. So I love this moving story. Oh, no, I'm going to tell you the moving story after the caller. Hi there.
Hi, Elaine. It's Marianne.
Hi, Marianne. Did you just hear me speaking of your friend at the top of the show? Oh, you just tuned in? I was speaking of our friend Jean.
Oh, awesome.
And I hope she heard it because I just was so appreciative. Jean shared these hours on her social media, and I was just so thankful. And really, we need to support each other this way. So really cool.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Well, I will try to do the same. I don't have quite as much of a social network as Jean does, but certainly everything can help.
Everything does help. So how are you? Are you ready for the new year?
I am ready. I've just taken down the last of my old cures, and I don't know whether I should throw them away or just wash them and reuse some of them.
Okay, good question, because many of you have old cures in place, and that's kind of a question that everybody could benefit, and then I'll kind of point it in towards you specifically in a minute. with the old cures, first thing first, get them all down and don't overlook any. Some of you have hidden them behind the bedpost, under the mattress. You've hidden them under the doormat. You've hidden them over windowsills, outside on tree limbs. Take them all down. And if they're done and you feel they're done, then yes, you thank them and you get rid of them. But if a good washing and a little love will fluff them back up, you fluff them back up. So it's all reusable again if it's not cooked.
Okay.
Okay. So do you know this year where the Grand Duke is and where the energy should be pointing to face off from that?
Now, is it in the east?
West. It's in the west.
Okay.
Okay. So what that means, the Grand Duke is if you will, it's almost like a very condensed block of energy. And when you sit directly facing where it is any year, well, first of all, your body will actually feel unsettled, like you're in the wrong seat at a restaurant. But if you sit there long enough, it will actually do some damage. It could bring some health issues. It could bring relationship issues, money issues. It'll go right to the Achilles heel, I'll tell you that.
So the food dogs face the west.
The food dogs face the west. Now, what Marianne's saying is there's a pair of, they're not particularly pretty little dogs for our culture, but they're a force that counteracts that force. So there's either one of two things. It's called food dogs or beasties, and the beasties are one step up in, they're really, do I have to keep them out? They're just not the American way. But yes, you point them looking directly into the west. And if you're seated at a computer screen that looks directly into the west, the food dogs really aren't going to touch that. You need to slightly shift the screen.
Okay.
Use your desk as a small bagua, a mini room. So let's say that computer is smack on west and you've got a straight flat top desk. There's three directions on that flat top itself. So there could be the west, depending on which direction you're looking at, could be the west, northwest, and southwest. Just tip it.
Right.
Just turn your chair and tip it a little bit. And honestly, it sounds crazy, but you protect your health that way, minimum.
So should I have them both at work and in the office?
It wouldn't hurt if you've got them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I remember you are Con North, yes?
Yes, I am.
Uh-huh.
And my front door is northwest and my bedroom is east.
Okay. Now, the east is opposite the Grand Duke. So both the east and the west are directions this year where you don't want to dig. You don't want to be having a lot of commotion, not a lot of quarreling. So you kind of, do I remember your headboard is on the east?
Northeast.
Oh, good. Great. Northeast is good. East for you would not be the strongest.
Okay.
So, and downstairs there's an east door, right, Marianne?
There's in the kitchen.
Yeah. That should have a little metal.
Metal. So
Yeah.
Metal
Well, actually, wait a minute. I'm taking that back. A little fire.
Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fire's going to...
Same in the bedroom?
Yep. Same in the bedroom. So here's how you get fire, folks, without it being very dangerous. You don't need to have a whole, corral of candles. You get a tiny nightlight, and you put in a red bulb, and you simply plug it in and forget about it for 365 days.
Okay.
It's very, very easy. And if there's no outlet, I'll always go, okay, there's no outlet. Well, you don't have to call in the electrician and spend hundreds of dollars on creating an outlet. What's the next best thing? Go get a piece of red construction paper from the kids' construction set and roll it up and tuck it somewhere in the east. It's just the sense of anything that will push the energy back. And this year for the east, it has to do with all the element of fire. So it's red. It's a red light. It's a red candle. Be creative. What's red? What'll do it?
And how about the front door is northwest?
Well, the front door there's got mixed blessings there this year, which is always tricky. So here's what the great ones say about it, but I'm not buying